Welcome, welcome. Ziggy1X here with another Nier reincarnation video. And I am a very, very tired Ziggy tonight. I just finished my dinner. I just sat down to do this fight for the first time. Spent about an hour working through it. And I realized something. I realized I could not beat this fight legitimately. So I had to cheat. But while we're enjoying the prospect of me fudging the game a little bit to do this fight, enjoy my dinner that I made, courtesy of the most fancy paper plates in the hotel lobby. It was delicious though. It was avocado on toast with olive oil and balsamic vinaigrette, olive oil, salt and pepper, a little bit of crushed pepper, a little bit of baby arugula. It was delicious. Big sliced tomatoes, mozzarella cheese, a little bit of goat cheese underneath spread onto the bread. It's actually really good. If you hadn't noticed by my tacos, I'm a big cheese guy. We're a minute into this video. Let's move over here to the screen. Okay, so I was saying I cheated a little bit. At least that's kind of the way I see it, but I don't think it is technically cheating. Let's take a look at the characters though first. This is my party. Now, the first thing you'll notice here on Libania is that my gloves, my Void Gleam Fists 3, are only at stage 9. They're not even the stage 11 final. So that means that I am not getting the full 5 attacks out of this. I'm only getting 4 attacks per volley. So I'm losing a lot of damage there. I just do not have enough Zenith to go ahead and fully enhance this guy. So that was something I was missing out on. This may be something that I'm a little bit more sympathetic with some of the other players who were messaging me and saying that they were just having a really hard time with these challenges because they didn't have the fully ascended water weapons or the fully ascended fire weapons and everything else that they could use from those EX weapons. So I get you. Now I'm going to go through this a little bit more here. I've got all EX weapons on my characters except for Noelle. And Noelle, I just needed her to run as support in one part. Everybody's built for damage. I actually didn't even optimize their crit rate for this, but everybody's built for damage. I'm exhausted right now. Sorry guys. Like one eye's half open, the other eye's kind of open, but so I didn't even optimize for the crit rate, crit damage on this, but I needed the gun to go ahead and boost that. Let's go ahead and click on it here. To boost that wind damage and to boost that pursuit. Okay. Now, the other thing that I found that I needed Noelle with, and you'll see that when we actually loaded in the fight here, I'll do a little bit of commentary on it, but I'm not going to go into as much depth as I did on my last 2 fights, and I'll tell you why. This fight was something, this one got me. I just didn't have the right equipment for it, and I had to do a reset marathon on it, which is something I saw JP Bear do on one of his fights when he was running with just the 2-star units. Gave me the idea to try it myself. It works very well. So yay JP Bear. Thank you for teaching me how to game the system. So I need her for support, but I also need her for her ultimate ability, which does an incredible amount of damage. And you'll see in the fight that she actually clears the second wave for me. We've also got the water companion up there, which reduces incoming water damage. This is important, but I've got her with a whirlwind boon and a pursuit bonus on her 2 sub weapons. Even though they aren't optimized for her, they're still giving her something to benefit. Lars is actually the guy who wins the fight for me, and you'll see why here in a bit. It is because of his ultimate ability. But I've got him built for crit rate, crit damage. Again, I slotted Noelle, and you'll see that I had Yuri in there because I was trying to play with someone who had an optimized gun as the primary weapon. This is where a lot of the RNG comes in. This is where I'm kind of not entirely as thrilled about this fight, because this fight involved, if you do not have a provoke tank, I'm stuttering all over myself right now, guys. I want to make this one quick because I'm about ready to fall asleep on my desk right now in front of me. But if you do not have a provoke ally, wow, character, good grief, then this becomes very difficult because of wave 1. wave 1, those enemies do a lot of damage, and they attack really fast. I noticed they actually have more attacks than your team has. So without that, it becomes very RNG intensive. You'll see here very soon. But this is the layout. Everybody is built for damage. This is a full damage team. This watermelon companion, wonderful because it gives the... Oh, no way. I double dipped. See, I did not optimize for this fight at all. This guy gives me the wind up, and I put this guy on to give me the wind up as well. I'm about ready to pass out my seat, guys. I'm sorry. So I'm just going to load straight into the fight here in just a moment. We're built for damage. We're built for wind. And I'm built with 3 attackers, and we get lucky. And that's something you're going to notice, is that in the first fight, I get very lucky. But then you'll notice that my team switches into the second and third round, because I actually didn't record the first part of that fight, which I regret doing now. But it was a good fight, but I did have to reset it once because I messed up on my chain. So let's go ahead here and load into the fight right now. Okay, so we are in the fight, and you'll notice this is wave 1 with Yuri. And the reason why I stuck a Yuri in there, and I tried a couple other my gun users, but I want to have as many of the auto attacks as possible, which is precisely the opposite of the fight 2. You wanted to have them using those off affinity weapons, as I made such a big point of the last time around. So they didn't kill the first wave mob too quickly, because you wanted the companion to charge up and you wanted all their abilities to charge up. So we're just about to finish wave 1 here. This is looking very nice. We've got all of our abilities charged up, and then we're about to go into wave 2 with our companion. Now, we're going to jump over to the next fight here. You'll see that Yuri was replaced with Noel. Now, this basically was the same with the other one, but we fire off that companion, we fire off the chains, and then we go through here. And you'll see that I've got Noel queued up there as the last attack on this guy. She's the one who ends this fight, essentially. Now, I went overboard with Lavania because I wasn't sure if I had enough damage to go ahead and finish the chain. This is where a little bit of the trial and error and experimentation is going to come in on. I overdid with Lavania. I didn't realize how much damage Noel was going to do. So Lavania wasted his ultimate ability on a trash mob, which was really unfortunate. This is not a clean fight, guys. Not nearly as polished as my last one. But here we go. We're going to finish this off. My team is in relatively good health. Now, this is where another bit of RNG comes in, because this guy gets the first attack. So who's he going to hit? Is he going to kill him? What's going to happen here? Ooh. Noel counterattacks. RNG. Fire off those chains. Boom. And then Leon. Now, I'm sorry. Did I say Leon? Lars. Oh my goodness. Guys, I apologize. This is a messy video all around. I just got to get this out before it gets too late. Okay, boom. And you'll notice how little damage these 2 abilities are doing here. But then the ultimate fires off. Boom. Now he's not damage capping, but he is doing a lot of damage. So this was actually my first clear. It's messy. It's not nearly as clean as my other clears, but this is kind of a messy fight. And unless you have the fully evolved fists, the wind fists from oh my goodness, what are they called? I am so out of it, guys. I apologize. Unless you have the fully evolved Void Gleam fists, then this becomes a little bit more difficult. Having those 2 EX characters does help. Lars is of course a beast because of his ultimate ability, but it was at the end those 2 ultimate abilities that clutched the fight for me, and because they do just a ridiculous amount of damage. Now, I could have technically substituted in A2 for Noel, and if I had been planning a little bit better, maybe I would have, or maybe I would have changed up my memoirs a little bit to optimize the 100% crit rate and getting everybody up to about at least 220% crit damage, like what I had in there before with a little bit higher attack. But this was a messy fight for me, guys, and this is not a terribly helpful guide. It's just showing that you can burst through it, but there have been plenty of other people who have showcased that. Probably much cleaner fights as well. This is just me really completing the series and doing so at about midnight. after a very long work day. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. I've got a special project that I'm working on. I'm very excited about. It's still in the works. You may have seen a little trailer for it up on the YouTube shorts on my channel. So appreciate the people who stopped by and visited that, and appreciate all of the views I've been getting on these last two fights. I'm sorry again that this one isn't quite as helpful, but I think that well, if you guys can get through this, you're doing good. So there are other resources that, generally speaking, this has been the clear strategy to burst it down. I believe Farplane had one where he was able to sustain it out a little bit and use, I believe it was his Summer Saryu, and she's wonderful. There are probably other ways you could do it with the healer. Unfortunately, I ran out of time and patience tonight. I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. So peace out, y'all. See you next time. Goodbye. I'm back. I said goodbye, but I'm back because I forgot to tell you how I cheated. It's not technically cheating, but what I did is when I knew I was about to lose the fight, because again, this fight is so RNG intensive, there are so many random ways this fight can go sideways for you. There was one fight where all of the enemies attacked Lavania in a row and just killed him within a few hits. That only happened once, but it's just an example of how sideways this fight can go, how quickly. So what I did is I just closed the app. As soon as I saw myself losing, I closed the app, I reopen it, it loads right back into that stage. And technically it's like you're starting the fight over again, except at that point, that wave of the fight. And so if you're able to clear wave 1 with a nice good team, go into wave 2. I hate that I'm saying this, actually. This is one of those things, like, I want to be able to beat the game completely without any fudging it, but this is fudging it, okay? This is just again, I'm exhausted. I have zero patience for this right now, and I just need to get it done. So you close out the app, you reopen the app, it loads you back into the fight at the beginning of the fight. So whatever HP and charging of abilities and companions you had at the beginning of the fight, that's where it loads you to. And then you just kind of do the trial and error thing. You saw that the last 2 rounds on that one were pretty seamless. I didn't have to do any reset marathons, but a part of the reason why I was doing that was because of wave 1. Wave 1 is just such a goofy thing. But the other thing was because I was playing with the ability order for firing off, and you'll notice that I fired off the Fists on Lavania, ability 2, then 1, and that was after I did Noel, and then I did Lars last because his abilities, his weapon is the most advanced and his weapon was doing the most damage, so I wanted him capping the chain. And so that was a part of the experimenting that I was doing, and I just kept resetting the fight over and over again to see which combination of weapons did more damage, and the easiest way to do that was for me to just load into round 2. So there is the RNG element. There also is the just me experimenting in real time, and you kind of got a glimpse of that with this. So I hope this was helpful to some degree. This is probably, just in my humble opinion, the least helpful video I've published on these fights. But I have seen people with much stronger wind teams than water teams, and I have seen more success on this fight than with the other fights, and strangely enough, this was, I think, the hardest fight for me, and every fight got progressively worse for me. So we're done. I'm going to leave it there, and peace out for real this time. Y'all have a great night. Goodbye.